gosh, I am super excited to be filming this all the way from London town. After COVID, I didn't realize how long it had been since I traveled internationally. And so first I went on a few trips in the United States domestically. And so in 2022, I went to Chicago, I went to Las Vegas, I went to Orlando to Disney World, and I can get into those another time. What I wanted to do was see my friend Sia. So Sia is from Sierra Leone. I met Sia when I was in undergrad at East Bay, and we just clicked and we kept in touch, and it was just very easy to kick with her and hang out with her. And then I got to know her a little bit more, a little bit better, and I realized how much of a good person she is. She brings the best out of me, like as a person. I see a lot of what I want to be in her and how I want to be a good person. I want to be a loving and caring person. I could talk about her all day and night. From the day I met her, she had been inviting me to Sierra Leone, see her country and see where she's from. And I hadn't had the money or the time to take her up on that offer until now. And so back in October, maybe even September, I started to look into flights and stuff like that. And I asked her, like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. She was 100% down. I got to figure out, okay, how am I going to get there? Then I started to think about it, like, I would actually like to stop and see a few other people. Since I'm going to that side of the world, I should see who else I could check in with. First, my friend Lamar. I met Lamar back during COVID, and we clicked. I came out here, got to visit him, and then that was the last time I saw him, was like during COVID 2020. And so it's my first time back to London since COVID, since all that happened. And so I just got to see him yesterday. I took a train from San Diego to Fullerton. I stayed with my friend Aisha for a little bit, hung out with her and her kids, and just relaxed before I had to get on my flight. I did do a night flight because I prefer to sleep on these long flights. I prefer to just knock most of it out being asleep, and then I get up and I'm at the place where I'm supposed to be at. So I got my flight out of LAX. We kind of like having to figure out all the things, all the pieces, logistics. And here's just an example of like things that you can't prepare for, that you don't really know is happening until it's time for you to go. Logistics. The transit workers are on a strike right now. And so in my head, I flew into Heathrow, so I plan on taking the metro, getting there, getting to my hotel, you know what I'm saying? Like, I planned on figuring it out like that, but the metro system was like, no, you're not taking the metro. So my friend Lamar came and picked me up from the airport. Because he has to work tomorrow, I will be taking a taxi to the airport. So he helped me get that together. I've been here so many times, it doesn't feel like I need to see anything. And that's not what this trip was for. The entire point of this trip is to visit people that I haven't seen in a while. Things that happened. I packed everything, I double-checked, triple-checked, and I still left things. So I purchased this bag, and it has a strap over the shoulder strap. I wish I had brought the strap because right now I have just the handles, the arm handles, and the bag is kind of heavy. What I ended up doing was transferring some of the stuff from that bag into my suitcase. Anyway, I forgot the strap. I also forgot masks. I'm not the person that will sit on a plane and not wear a mask. Like, lately I've been going to the grocery store, like doing things like that without a mask, but like planes, I just haven't gotten to that point yet. I'm gradually starting to feel more comfortable coming out into the world without a mask on, but I was like, damn, I wish I had brought that. Get on the train, I got to the train stop. Lo and behold, for some reason, my service was giving me a hard time. It was as if they just didn't want me to win. Try to open up Lyft and it wouldn't work. Try to open up Uber and it wouldn't work. It was just so weird. I knew where I was at, so I knew where to go and where I could walk because I've lived in Fullerton before. I ended up having to ask my friend if she could order me an Uber, and it worked. So I knew that it was me. When I got to her house, I connected to her Wi-Fi and I was able to schedule my Uber to the airport or my Lyft to the airport, and it worked. And so something's wrong with my service. When I get home, I'm gonna have to figure something else out because I can't be stranded like this. And so I get to the airport. I know how to do this. I've done it before, but it's been a long time since I've done this. So I thought to myself, hey, I should probably go to this desk and try to figure out how to get my boarding pass, because I couldn't get my boarding pass ahead of time because I purchased through a third party. From what I understood, I was flying on Air France. So I went to the Air France desk, but there was no one there, which is weird because if you have a flight in less than 2 hours, there should be somebody at the desk. So I'm thinking, what's going on here? There was a security person standing nearby. I asked him, like, hey, if the desks aren't open, where do we go? He was like, I will go to that information desk over there. So I went over there. The woman behind the desk, she was like, what's your flight number? I told her my flight number. She said, yeah, you have a flight today at 10:10. I'm not sure why they're not open. I will go back over there and just check again to see if maybe they're just like on a quick break or something like that. I ended up pretty much going over to the desk, waiting a little bit. I'm looking around, checking to see if other people are there with me. And it was this man. Apparently he had a flight at 9 something. He was just trying to check his bags. At that point in time, it was like 8, maybe 8:10. And his flight was at 9 something. So he was probably too late to check his bag. There are people that will get your bag from a scale and put it on the conveyor belt. So those are people that were standing around. So he was like, hey, excuse me, can you go back there and let them know that somebody is out here and that we kind of need to be serviced? So I walked up on him talking to the man. And I said, you're waiting for your flight too? He was like, yeah. I was like, oh, I'm waiting for mine. I don't know what to do because they said that they're supposed to be over here, but they're not over here. So we stood together for about 10 minutes just trying to figure out what to do next because the women who were working Air France weren't trying to come out because someone had come out, spoken to him. I didn't speak up because what she said was she was going back to get her manager. I don't know why I believe that, but I'm waiting for her to come back. At this point in time, he realizes, well, my flight is about to take off. So let me just call the helpline and I'll figure it out. Me, I was like, well, I still got time. So I'm going to try and figure out what's going on. So I go back to the information desk and there's a different person there. And this man basically was like, they conduct their business over there. So you have to go over there and see what's going on. So I go back over there. I waited maybe like 5 minutes. And I saw 2 other workers from a different airline walking over. They were getting ready to leave the area. And I stopped one of them. He looked really nice and approachable. So I stopped him like, hey, I have a question. Can I ask you a question? He was like, sure. I was like, so I am trying to figure out what to do at this point. I have a flight with Air France at 10:10, but the desk is closed. He was like, are you sure you have a flight? I was like, yeah. He was like, you have your boarding pass? So I pulled it up on my phone. I said, this is my boarding pass. Now, mind you, on the front, when you have it in your wallet on iPhone, it gives you the information for the ticket and a barcode, but it doesn't give you all the extra information. So it literally just said Air France. The man who was helping me, he was like, what's your flight number? So I showed it to him. He put it into his system and he was like, okay, so this is operated by Virgin Atlantic. So you need to go over to their desk. I was like, oh, okay. As far as I can recall, I've been on flights where it was this airline that was actually flying, but it was operated by a different airline. Like it would say Alaska, operated by Alaska, but I would be on JetBlue or something like that. Am I tripping? Like, do I recall that correctly? Like when you're asking yourself, in all my experience, how come this did not click for me? But anyway, so he was like, the Virgin Atlantic desk is on the next aisle over. I was like, perfect. Thank you so much for helping me. And at that point, I had asked like 4 different people and nobody could give me a straight answer. You know what I'm not about to do, stand around here and miss my flight. So I was just going to keep asking people for help. My next thought was to go over to a different airline and try to ask like for more information and try to understand pretty much what this dude just told me, that I was basically at the wrong desk. Before I had gotten to this point, I was talking to the man who missed his flight. He had asked me, and this is where, you start to look back on the situation and be like, where were the context clues? Like, everybody was telling me that it didn't make sense that I had a flight at 10:10. But, to me, I'm like, yeah, I do have a flight at 10:10. Anyway, he was saying Air France only flies to France. Like, I'm assuming from LAX, the only flight you could catch on Air France is to Paris. And so he was like, so you don't have a layover in Paris and you're not going to Paris? I was like, no. And he was like, that doesn't make any sense. And so I should have gotten it. But, at that point, I'm just trying to get on my flight. So I go over to the Virgin desk. Super friendly, very helpful. Here's my, ticket and all this other stuff. My luggage in there. Check my bag. She was like, do you have a pre-check number? Because if so, I can put that in and you could take the pre-check line. I was like, I sure do. And so I gave her that information. I was able to go through pre-check. I was able to get food, get on my flight without any other issues. Just purely the fact that I asked like 4 different people, like, I need help. And most of them were like, you just need to go over there and wait for them to help you. It's like, and miss my flight? That sounds like a bad idea. So I'm glad that very early on, I can remember my grandpa always, I remember I was really young, maybe 12, 13, and my grandpa, there's something that had happened that I didn't ask a question I wanted to ask. Or maybe I told him, like, I know I ask a lot of questions. And he was like, no, that's good. You should ask questions. Because if you don't know what you're looking for, you're going to miss out getting what you need because you're afraid to ask about it. That was the beginning of the flight. I boarded. I got my seat. Luckily, no one sat next to me. I had a person on the other side of the middle seat, but the middle seat was empty between us. So we got to kind of spread out, get a little comfortable. I slept most of the flight, which was good because I had been exhausted. I hadn't been sleeping well, so I really needed the sleep. When I woke up, we had about 2 hours left on the flight. So, of course, I turned on Crazy Rich Asians, one of my new favorite movies. Watched a little bit of that, and it was time to descent. We got our steps together, and I got off the plane and immediately went into like, okay, how do I get out of here mode. I had been through Heathrow before, so wasn't really too concerned. I have like a pretty good sense of how to get out of an airport, getting off the plane, getting through the border. By the time I picked up my bags, Lamar was there to pick me up at the airport. So it was less than 30 minutes. Then we ended up coming back here to my hotel room, dropping off my stuff, changing clothes because I looked crazy and we were going to go get something to eat. So I didn't want to be underdressed. And so we stopped by his place so I could say hi to his mom, which was nice because she's always been a super sweet person to me. Then we went to dinner. We ate, had a good time, talked the whole way, talk, especially being so far away and not knowing when you're going to see people, especially if they live in other countries. It's always nice to really get down to the nitty gritty in person. It's different when you're in person. Even though we talk all the time, we text all the time, it's different when you're in person. Ironically, we're both really silly people. I had texted him after I got out of the shower. I was like, hey, we forgot to take a picture. And he was like, you want me to come back? And I was like, I want to say yeah, but we also could do a screenshot. Like we both get on FaceTime and then we'll just screenshot the screen or whatever. He was like, it's literally straight down the road. He's right. It's literally like a 2-minute drive down the street. He came back so we could take a picture together because he has time off coming up, but I don't know when he's going to be able to come to the United States. And I don't know when's the next time I'm coming to London. So I was like, actually, yeah, it would be different if, we were down the street from each other or something like that. So that is now. Now I've showered and I'm ready to get into bed. That was the first leg of the trip. We are now going to Spain, Jaen, Spain, and I'll do a different video for this.